A gentle breeze rustles through the trees, casting dappled sunlight on a porch swing where two figures, silhouetted against a warm sunset, seem to be sharing a quiet moment. But beneath this idyllic scene, a deeper question lingers for those over 70. Is a second chance at marriage truly a path to happiness, or a gateway to unforeseen complications? You've spent a lifetime building, nurturing, and perhaps even rebuilding after loss. Now, as you stand on the threshold of your golden years, the desire for companionship is natural, even essential. Yet, the simple act of remarrying after 70 can unravel the very security and peace you've worked so hard to achieve. This isn't about discouraging love. It's about equipping you with the hard truths that too many discover only when it's too late. Think of it as a crucial checkup for your heart and your future. So before you get comfortable, take some time to like this video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. Where are you watching from? And what's the local time for you right now? Let's dive into 5 shocking reasons why, according to senior life experts, you should never remarry after 70. 1. Your nest egg at risk. You've spent decades meticulously building your financial security. Every savings account, pension, and investment was a brick in the wall protecting your future, your independence, and your legacy. You've navigated market fluctuations, planned for unforeseen expenses, and perhaps even dreamed of leaving something substantial for your children or grandchildren. It feels like a well-deserved peace, a safe harbor after a lifetime of effort. But imagine that carefully constructed wall having a single, almost invisible, door. That door can be opened with a marriage certificate, and without robust protection, what lies beyond it can be far more precarious than you anticipate. When you remarry after 70, you're not just blending lives, you're potentially merging financial worlds. And this merger, without careful legal architecture, can become a devastating vulnerability. Many seniors enter remarriage with the understandable assumption that their finances can remain separate. We'll keep our accounts separate, they might say, or I'll just leave my assets to my children. However, the law often views marriage as a union of assets and liabilities, regardless of your intentions. If your new spouse carries existing debts, be they medical bills, credit card obligations, or even financial responsibilities towards their own children, you can, by law, become entangled. This isn't about mistrusting your partner. It's about the legal framework of marriage itself. Suddenly, your hard-earned savings might be called upon to address their financial burdens, a responsibility you never agreed to carry. Consider the impact on government benefits. Your eligibility for certain retirement benefits, like survivor benefits from a deceased spouse, or specific Medicaid programs, can be jeopardized by remarriage. I've seen cases where women, who relied on the steady income from their late husband's Social Security, found that income significantly reduced or even eliminated upon remarrying, often with no prior warning until their monthly checks changed drastically. This is a stark reality. One legal signature can unexpectedly alter your financial landscape. Then there's the matter of inheritance. You have plans for your estate, for the people you wish to provide for. But remarriage, especially without a comprehensive estate plan, can inadvertently redirect assets. Your children might find that what was intended for them is legally obligated to a new spouse or their heirs. Even with the best intentions and a trusted partner, relationships and circumstances can change. Family dynamics can become strained. Promises can be forgotten, and your carefully planned legacy can be rerouted, leaving your own family with less than you intended. The emotional toll of such financial disruption is profound, leading to anxiety, a sense of powerlessness, and even shame. Your independence, so hard won, can begin to erode. replaced by a daily worry about your financial stability. Let's think about Eleanor, who at 74 found comfort and companionship with a gentleman she met at her book club. They shared similar interests and enjoyed quiet evenings together. Eleanor, a widow for 10 years, had a comfortable retirement fund and a clear will, leaving everything to her 2 daughters. Within a year of marrying her new husband, she discovered he had significant, undisclosed gambling debts. To protect him from creditors and to maintain the peace of their new life, Eleanor began using her own savings to cover his mounting obligations. Her daughters, blindsided by this revelation, felt betrayed and financially vulnerable themselves, as Eleanor had also been subtly pressured to alter her will. What began as a search for companionship had quietly morphed into a financial crisis, undermining the very security she had worked so hard to achieve. Doctors still believe that financial planning is paramount at any age, but especially after 70, it's not just about accumulating wealth, it's about preserving the peace of mind and dignity that financial security provides. Before you consider walking down that aisle again, ask yourself if your nest egg is truly protected. Your heart might be ready for love, but ensure your finances are ready for a merger that could redefine your future. 3. The caregiver trap. When you remarry after 70, you're not just inviting someone to share your meals and your memories. You're often stepping back into a role many of us assumed we'd left behind. The caregiver. For decades, you've likely juggled the needs of children, perhaps an aging parent, and a previous spouse. You've managed doctor's appointments, administered medications, and provided emotional support through countless illnesses. By the time you reach your 70s, you've earned the right to a more relaxed pace, to focus on your own well-being, and to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But remarriage can swiftly pull you back into the demanding world of caregiving, often with a partner whose health needs are as significant, or even more so, than your own. By this stage of life, you're already navigating your own health challenges. You might be managing arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, or simply the physical changes that come with age. These require energy, attention, and regular medical care. Adding another person's health journey into your daily life means an exponential increase in responsibility. Suddenly, you're not just tracking your own medication schedule, you're managing theirs too. You're coordinating 2 sets of doctor's appointments, ensuring they're eating right, helping with mobility, and providing emotional comfort for their health-related anxieties. What might start as a simple act of kindness, helping them take their pills or offering a steady arm, can gradually evolve into a constant, draining commitment. This constant demand on your physical and emotional resources can have a profound impact on your own health. Studies have shown that older adults who become primary caregivers often neglect their own health needs. They might skip their own doctor's appointments, cut back on sleep, eat less healthily, and become socially isolated because their time and energy are completely consumed by their partner's needs. The emotional labor involved in caregiving is immense, and when it's a constant, unremitting pressure, it can lead to burnout, depression, and a significant decline in your own physical health. It's a paradoxical situation. Seeking companionship can lead to a loss of personal well-being, even potentially shortening your own lifespan. Consider the story of Margaret, an 81-year-old widow who, after years of loneliness, remarried a man she met at a community dance. He was charming, attentive, and seemed to be in good health. However, within 18 months of their marriage, he suffered a significant stroke that left him partially paralyzed and with cognitive impairments. Margaret, who herself had been managing early-stage arthritis, found herself lifting her husband, bathing him, managing his complex medication regimen, and overseeing his physical therapy. all while her own pain worsened and her energy levels plummeted. She stopped seeing her own doctor, skipped her regular exercise classes, and her social circle dwindled to almost nothing. She confided in a friend that she felt trapped, exhausted, and resentful, a far cry from the companionship she had envisioned. Her own health had taken a back seat, and she was visibly deteriorating, a living testament to the overwhelming burden of unexpected caregiving. Doctors still believe that your own health must remain a priority, especially in later life. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Before committing to remarriage, it's crucial to have honest conversations about both partners' current and potential future health needs. Are you truly prepared to take on the full weight of another person's health journey? Day in and day out, it's a significant commitment, one that requires immense reserves of energy, patience, and resilience. If the thought of becoming a primary caregiver again fills you with dread rather than a sense of loving duty, it's a signal worth heeding. Your well-being is not selfish. It's a fundamental necessity for enjoying your later years. 3. Legal ties that bind. Beyond the emotional and physical aspects, remarriage after 70 introduces a complex layer of legal considerations that can profoundly impact your family and your carefully planned estate. You've likely spent years establishing a clear path for your assets, drafting wills, and designating beneficiaries to ensure your wishes are honored and your loved ones are provided for. However, the legal framework of marriage, particularly in later life, can often override these personal intentions, creating unintended consequences and potential conflicts. It's a stark reminder that while love may feel timeless, legal statutes are very much bound by specific rules that can, and often do, dictate outcomes. One of the most significant legal shifts upon remarrying involves inheritance rights. In many jurisdictions, a new spouse automatically gains certain rights to a portion of your estate, regardless of what your will dictates. This means that even if you've explicitly stated your intention to leave your home or your savings to your children, a new spouse could legally claim a share. This can significantly reduce the inheritance your children receive, or worse, lead to protracted and emotionally draining legal battles between your spouse's family and your own after you're gone. The very act intended to bring happiness can inadvertently sow seeds of discord among those you hold dearest. Furthermore, remarriage can affect crucial financial benefits tied to your previous marriage. For example, if you are a widow receiving survivor benefits from your late husband's Social Security, remarrying before a certain age, often 60, but this can mean a reduction or even a complete loss of those benefits. This is money you may have been counting on to supplement your income, and its sudden disappearance due to a new marriage certificate can create significant financial strain. The assumption that you can maintain these benefits while entering a new marriage is often a costly misconception. Another critical area is decision-making authority, particularly concerning medical care and financial matters. If you were to become incapacitated due to illness or an accident, your new spouse may automatically assume legal power of attorney or the right to make critical medical decisions on your behalf. This can be particularly problematic if your adult children have a closer understanding of your wishes, have been your trusted advocates, or if the relationship between your children and your new spouse is strained. They might find themselves legally sidelined, unable to ensure your health care aligns with your known preferences, leading to heartbreaking disagreements and conflicts during already difficult times. Consider the experience of 81-year-old Carol, who remarried a man from her church, envisioning a partnership for their twilight years. She believed their relationship was simply about companionship. However, when she fell ill and required hospitalization, her new husband, as her legal spouse, made medical decisions that Carol's daughter vehemently opposed, believing they were not in her mother's best interest. Compounding this, Carol had always intended to leave her home, which she had paid off over many years, to her grandchildren. But under pressure from her new husband, and due to the legal implications of their marriage, the house became entangled in disputes over inheritance, turning a time of supposed comfort into a legal and familial nightmare. Carol later expressed, "I sought comfort, but I created a legal labyrinth for my family." Doctors still believe that transparency and proactive legal planning are vital. It's not unromantic to have frank discussions and create prenuptial agreements or update wills and powers of attorney before getting married, especially after 70. These steps are not about a lack of trust, but about a clear, loving commitment to protect everyone involved and ensure your wishes are respected. Ignoring these legal complexities when you're considering remarriage is akin to navigating a minefield without a map. The potential for disaster is significant. 4. Trading freedom for company. As you enter your 70s and beyond, you've reached a stage of life where hard-won freedoms are perhaps your most treasured possessions. These aren't freedoms of grand gestures, but the quiet, profound freedoms of personal autonomy. Waking up when you please, savoring your morning coffee in silence, pursuing hobbies that bring you joy without needing to consult anyone, and maintaining the comfortable routines that contribute to your well-being. You've spent years accommodating others, making compromises, and perhaps putting your own needs on the back burner. Now, it's supposed to be your time, a period to live life entirely on your own terms. Remarriage, however, can subtly, and sometimes swiftly, reclaim these cherished freedoms, trading your hard-earned independence for a shared, and often constrained, existence. Think about the established rhythms of your life. Perhaps you prefer early mornings with a book, while your potential partner enjoys late nights with the television blaring. Maybe you've cultivated a minimalist lifestyle with simple meals, but your new spouse thrives on elaborate, multi-course dinners. These aren't major conflicts, but daily divergences that require constant adaptation and compromise. By the time you reach your 70s, most people are deeply settled in their ways. These aren't stubbornnesses, but rather the comfortable patterns that promote peace and predictability. Reintroducing another person into this well-balanced ecosystem can feel less like a harmonious blend and more like a disruption that chips away at your personal space and comfort. Beyond the practicalities of shared living, there's the emotional labor that every close relationship entails. This involves managing not just your own emotions, but also being attuned to your partner's, mediating potential disagreements, coordinating schedules, and sometimes navigating their relationships with their own family or friends. What might begin as engaging conversation can evolve into a constant need to communicate, explain, and adapt. Your quiet time for reflection, your solitary walks, or your dedicated hours for hobbies can become luxuries you feel you need to request or justify rather than natural extensions of your day. The precious independence you've cultivated can feel like it's slipping away, replaced by an obligation to consider another person's needs and desires in every aspect of your life. Consider the experience of Florence, a vibrant 76-year-old who, after 5 years as a widow, decided to remarry. Initially, she relished the company, the shared laughter over dinner, and the comfort of having someone beside her at night. However, within months, she found herself adjusting her entire life. Her quiet mornings reading the newspaper were replaced by lively debates about current events. Her solo trips to visit her sister were now meticulously planned to accommodate her husband's schedule. Even the simple act of adjusting the thermostat became a negotiation. Florence confided in a friend, "I thought I was gaining a companion, but I feel like I've lost my own home within my own home. I don't mind compromise when I'm younger, but now, every little change feels like a surrender." She missed the effortless autonomy, the ability to simply be without the need for constant negotiation or consideration. Doctors still believe that at this stage of life, personal peace and autonomy are invaluable assets. While companionship is indeed enriching, it should ideally enhance, not diminish, your quality of life. Before you remarry, ask yourself honestly, are you prepared to trade the freedom you've earned for shared decision-making and the necessary compromises of marriage? Have you considered what aspects of your independence are non-negotiable for your happiness? It's not about being unwilling to sacrifice for love, but about recognizing that in your 70s, you've already made a lifetime of sacrifices. You deserve a relationship that respects and honors your peace, your comfort, and your freedom. Feel. Merging fortunes. Doubling woes. Remarriage in your 70s might be fueled by a desire for emotional connection, but from a financial perspective, it often opens a Pandora's box of unexpected stresses, complexities, and long-term vulnerabilities. When you were younger, say in your 30s or 40s, merging finances with a partner made a certain kind of sense. You were building a future together, accumulating assets, and planning for a shared life that stretched decades into the future. But now, in your 70s, the game has fundamentally changed. Your focus shifts from building to protecting what you've meticulously earned over a lifetime. Remarriage, without extreme caution and meticulous planning, can quietly dismantle the financial fortress you've worked so hard to construct. It's crucial to understand that money in later life represents more than just numbers in an account. It embodies your security, your independence, your ability to make choices, and your dignity. When you remarry, your financial world doesn't just expand, it merges. This means your assets, your income streams like Social Security and pensions, and importantly, your debts, can become intertwined. The critical point is that unless every single financial detail is explicitly addressed and legally documented before the marriage, it's incredibly easy to lose control over what is rightfully yours. The complexities multiply when you consider the financial implications of your new spouse's existing life and family. Let's say your new partner has children from a previous marriage. What happens to your assets if something unforeseen occurs? Will your home, your investments, your carefully accumulated savings go to your own children? Or will they be legally obligated to your new spouse's heirs? Without proper legal protections in place, such as updated wills, prenuptial agreements, or clearly defined estate plans, you risk creating a tangled financial mess that can spark bitter conflicts among the very people you love most. These disputes can fracture families, leaving a legacy of bitterness instead of love. Consider another scenario. You've diligently paid off your home, enjoy a comfortable lifestyle supported by your retirement savings, and have a clear plan for your financial future. However, your new spouse may have outstanding debts, perhaps from past medical issues or family support, or they might have financial habits that are entirely contrary to yours. They might expect to lend significant sums to their children, or they may have a penchant for accumulating credit card debt. Suddenly, your nest egg, your bastion of security, is exposed. A single shared bank account, a joint credit card, or simply the legal merging of assets can cause your carefully built financial foundation to begin cracking under the strain. I spoke with Gerald, 82, who remarried after his wife of 55 years passed away. He felt the loneliness keenly and thought love would somehow smooth over any financial concerns. He didn't see the need for prenuptial agreements or extensive financial discussions, believing in the power of their mutual affection. Within 2 years, however, Gerald found himself unexpectedly paying off his new wife's considerable, undisclosed medical bills. He was also providing regular financial support to her adult son, who had faced repeated business failures. Ultimately, to meet these escalating demands, Gerald had to sell the cherished vacation home he had always intended to pass down to his own daughter. "I just wanted company," he confessed sadly, "but I ended up giving away half my life's work." Doctors still believe that in your 70s and beyond, you simply don't have the same margin for error you might have had in earlier years. Financial mismanagement or entanglement can have irreversible consequences. Before you make this significant commitment, ask yourself if you possess the energy, the clarity, and the time to navigate a potentially complex financial merger. Are you truly prepared to protect not just your heart, but your estate, your legacy, and the people who depend on your foresight? If you feel even the slightest uncertainty, it is a critical signal to pause, reflect deeply, and seek professional guidance before making a decision that could profoundly impact your financial well-being for the rest of your life. You deserve to feel secure, not financially vulnerable. By the time we reach our 70s and beyond, we have indeed weathered storms most people will never even know about. We've navigated the ebb and flow of life, experiencing love and loss, moments of profound sacrifice and bursts of pure celebration, the quietude of solitude and the warmth of shared laughter. Each year, each decade, brings a deeper understanding, a shifting perspective where we begin to measure life not by what we can acquire, but by what we no longer need to carry the unnecessary burdens, the misplaced expectations, the emotional baggage that weighs us down. And that is precisely why considering remarriage at this stage of life transcends mere companionship. It becomes a deeply personal and significant decision about how you wish to spend the most precious and finite years you have left. Perhaps you're watching this and thinking, "But I am lonely. I long for someone to grow old with." And let me assure you, that is a completely valid and deeply human feeling. The need for human connection never truly diminishes. But the truth, a truth that's often overlooked in our societal conditioning, is that profound companionship doesn't always necessitate another marriage. It can blossom from cherished friendships, from deep and meaningful family relationships, from active participation in a community, and perhaps most importantly, from a strong connection with yourself, the kind of connection that truly nourishes your soul, that brings genuine contentment, doesn't always come with the exchange of wedding rings. We are often conditioned to believe that being partnered is the key to being complete, to being whole. But what if you are already whole? What if this time in your life isn't about merging with someone else, but about returning to yourself, about rediscovering the joy in your own company, about the liberating freedom of not needing to explain yourself, not having to shrink or stretch to fit into someone else's predefined mold? That's not loneliness, that is liberation. I've spoken with so many women, wise and experienced, who remarried in their later years, only to quietly admit later that they deeply missed their independence, their cherished peace, and their hard-won freedom. Many wished they had paused for just a moment longer, to truly ask themselves what they wanted, rather than what society, family, or even their own loneliness might have dictated they should want. Because once you've crossed the threshold of 70, you no longer owe anyone a performance, a demonstration of who you are or what you've achieved. You've already proven your worth, not through partnership, but simply by navigating the journey to get here. So, before you say "I do" again, take a moment to truly say to yourself, "I deserve." You deserve ease. You deserve joy. You deserve rest. And you deserve to live the kind of life that resonates most deeply with your spirit. Remarriage might offer that, or it might not, but the most vital thing is that your choice stems from a place of profound self-trust and clarity, not from self-doubt or the fear of being alone. Thanks for watching the video. If you find it interesting, Please subscribe to the channel and leave a like or leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Wish you good health.